You are watching Nimasa this week, the authorized voice for the Nigerian maritime sector. My name is Iritiola Doyle and you are welcome.
The Institute of Transport Administration Nigeria is an affiliate of a global body dedicated to broadening and improving the knowledge, skills and experiences of its members in the practice of efficient transport management on an intermodal basis. This comprehensive awareness template covers road, rail, sea and air transportation in Nigeria, as well as the conveyance of petroleum products through the pipelines. IOTA for short recognizes the prime position of Nimasa as the undisputed umpire of the maritime sector in the country and has never missed an opportunity to express such allegiance. On Saturday, the 2nd of February 2013, the organization honored a long list of individuals for their invaluable contribution to the development of the transport sector. Among this select group was a number of top officers of Nimasa, including the Director General Ziakede Patrick Akpobolokemi. Others were Executive Director, Maritime Labour and Cabotage Services, Barrister Nwabueze Callistus Obi, his counterpart in the Department of Finance and Administration, Haruna Baba Jauro, Head of the Public Relations Unit, Hajia Lami Tumaka, Assistant Director Training, Bashir Jamo, and Deputy Director, Human Resources and Personnel Services, CN Wokocha. The theme of the award ceremony was Integrated Transport System, a veritable tool for achieving sustainable economic development. Guest speaker Professor Kayode Oyeshiku started out by drawing comparisons between the economic benefits of integrated transport systems in certain third world countries and the rapidly disintegrating and chaotic situation obtainable in Nigeria.
Some time ago in 2002, I had opportunity with the World Transport Congress Society to conduct some studies in the Middle East, starting from Istanbul, Turkey. Similarly, another group of researchers, this time 9 of us, were at Dubai, United Emirates, trying to study the Palm Jumeirah, that is the city on the sea. And again, we had a wonderful opportunity to move through the length and breadth by road, by sea, by rail, and by tube in that beautiful city. The import of all this is that transport systems that are well integrated has a positive correlation with the economic development of that particular region. Indeed, transport infrastructure on its own does not make economic growth. But because it is a derived demand, the aggregate demand for the creation of this infrastructure bring about social and economic development of the region. Therefore, transport economics, development economics, economics geographers, and transport planners have always considered investment in transportation as being a veritable tool for economic development.
The University Dawn recalled the better days of a coordinated transport system in Nigeria, which was anchored on a functional network of rail system, arguing that any meaningful attempt at resuscitating the sector must take into cognizance that model that worked so well.
Coming back home into the Nigerian environment, we know that the relative importance of different modes of transportation has been with us for a very long time. The historical development of the different modes shows that the wheel transportation, occasioned by rail, was the lifeline of the development of this country. People from Lagos can travel so easily by rail, passing through Kafanchan and going into Unguru. Some ended up in Guzo, and the beast of burden that we knew then was by rail. For some obvious reasons, up to the early 1970s, kilometer per ton is being carried by rail across the length and breadth of this country. The rail also took off from Apapa, where the offload of much of the heavy cargo for the development of the industries in Lagos, in Ibadan, in Aba, in Benin, Kano, Kaduna, Sokoto, and all the rest of this particular country were ferried by the Nigerian rail. For some known reasons, it comatose, capitulated, and on the way for survival. The rail is a shadow of itself.
Representative of the Nimasa DG and Executive Director for Maritime Labour and Cabotage Services, Barrister Callistus Mwabez Obi, underscores the importance of organizations like IOTA to the overall advancement of the maritime sector.
IOTA is a major stakeholder, so we are being recognized as an agency for these giant strides that everybody can see. Nimasa is doing what people are not used to seeing. So you can see the avalanche of awards coming from major stakeholders. So we see IOTA as a partner in progress. They are strategic in helping us to achieve our core mandates. IOTA, you know, of course, is peopled by professionals of distinction. So we're having an interface. There's a closing up now of the communication gap that existed in the past. So when you have professionals come on board, of course, the economy will be better for it. It will also going to affect very positively the transformation agenda of Mr. President, because what we're talking now is we want to have an integrated transport system that will encompass not only road transport, air, water, and you see the whole thing is holistic. You see every sector in the transport sector of our economy is being affected because there's a push, there's a drive. There's that awareness that was lacking in the past. So we're all beginning to articulate our problems jointly, and collectively we will solve it.
Sole Administrator of the Institute of Transport Administration Nigeria, Prince G.O. Donaki, extolled the virtues of Nimasa, outlining the single most important reason why the agency is thought of so highly by his organization.
We have been talking about security on this in the maritime arena, in the ECOWAS sub-region, more so with what has been happening in Somalia, in the highway, hijacking and so on and so forth, in other parts of the world. But in the case of Nigeria, it's not like that. Nimasa has successfully monitored the waterways, the highways, the sea of this country to make sure that such incident, ugly incident that happens in Somalia and other places does not take place here at all. They have succeeded. So I believe that other countries should come to learn from Nimasa how they manage to go about it. It happens in Benin, but not like that in Nigeria. So kudos to Nimasa.
Recently, the Commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps paid a courtesy visit on the DG of Nimasa at its number 4 Burma Road headquarters in Apapa, Lagos. Our field correspondent Charles Ohauku was there and filed in this report.
A delegation from the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps led by its Commandant General Ade Abolonrin visited the headquarters of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, in Lagos. The visitors were received by the Director General of Nimasa, Ziakade Patrick Akpomolokemi, in the company of the executive management members as well as other functionaries of the agency. Mr. Abolonri commended Nimasa for the effective way it has carried out its statutory functions of regulating and protecting Nigerian interests in the maritime sector. The commandant explained that the visit was informed by a desire to explore possible avenues for cooperation between his organization and the Maritime Agency in the campaign against economic sabotage as it relates to the maritime domain.
The benefit that it becomes very imperative for us to work together and be able to allow the citizens of this country to enjoy the dividends of democracy. And to work together and reduce, as mandated by Mr. President, that oil theft within an axis of our shore and our economy will be drastically reduced. And on several occasions we have found ourselves as suitable, compatible, and ready to closely work together in the interest of our nation and our economy. And so our coming is to come home to see our brothers, to see our other colleagues working in Nimasa.
The Civil Defense Commandant warned that the recent calamity at Arepo, Ogun State was a small manifestation of a problem with greater dimensions, which, if left unchecked, would continue to expose innocent Nigerians to bigger risks. He emphasized the need for all security agencies directly or indirectly involved in the maritime domain to concentrate their efforts at tackling the problem by waging war against the sponsors and patrons of these economic saboteurs. Mr. Abolonri said the endemic nature of the crime around the Lagos area is being met with equal force by his organization and gave out a number of statistical figures to substantiate his claim.
We recover nothing less than over 100 kegs. If you get to Arepo, in all its terrain, including the creeks around there, not less than 550-liter kegs are there, scattered all over. And if you look at it, you will see what is going on. Aside this, you also have pipes that were similarly laid by these bandits for the purpose of oil theft. And sometimes it's interesting that they also self-form into this smaller boat and ship, crude oil, and extend through other bigger river to a waiting ship, which ultimately also get it across to the bigger ship for pirates to take advantage of. So I want to assure you, if you look at the record, within this January alone, in Lagos, we have arrested nothing less than about 160 around Ikorodu, around the axis of Festa, Badagry, Arepo, and others, not less than 40. And in our case, we're not only just arresting, we're arresting and prosecuting.
Nimasa DG Ziakade Patrick Akpoblokemi appreciated the role being played by the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in the provision and maintenance of security for critical projects and installations in and around the maritime sector. He, however, regretted the continued menace of oil thieves and other economic saboteurs in the country.
There is nowhere in the world that I've heard of pipeline vandalism besides when there is a civil war. Other normal situation that people will go and analyze pipes, petroleum pipes, and the rest, and we don't hear them. I have never also heard where people are stealing petrol and petroleum products in other parts of the world, where they are stealing crude, where they may be under-declaring the quantity of crude that is leaving Nigeria. There are certain things that are peculiar to us, and which makes us, as a people, to reflect back what is happening with us, what has happened with our values, where are we actually going as a nation.
The DG is encouraged by the practical steps being taken by the government of President Goodluck Jonathan to tackle economic sabotage and supported the call by the Civil Defense Boss for an all-inclusive partnership among security agencies in the fight against such crime.
I'm happy that the government of President Goodluck has zero tolerance for these crimes. He has given us the mandate to fight these illegal activities. And these activities cannot be fought by just one agency alone. That would be a mistake of the highest order. Synergy must be built between government agencies. We must put our resources together to support ourselves in stopping these crimes. It is not an issue of one agency wants to take glory, one agency will do the work, another agency wants to take the glory, or one agency wants to get the budget, etc. No. We must all come together, have a unity of purpose in fighting these crimes.
The DG pointed out a lack of constitutional basis to prosecute suspects as a veritable hindrance to the realization of the agency's objectives, adding that it would continue to do the very best to discharge its statutory duties. In addition, the Nimasa boss made a case for the inclusion of Civil Defense Corps personnel in the Maritime Guard Command, while outlining plans to acquire more capacity for surveillance and interdiction on the maritime domain.
Right now, because of the radical approach to bunkering, how do they bring them to this Lagos area now? We have been able to reduce it to over 85%. We have boats. As we speak now, we are waiting 6 modern vessels to be stationed in any part of the maritime, even if it is 150 off the coast, nautical miles off the coast. We have such vessels coming by February. We already have some. We'll keep buying so that the entire maritime domain will get rid of these criminals.
It would not be wrong to describe the senior management cadre of Nimasa as one big happy family. Now, this fact was recently underscored when a committee of friends made up of very senior officers came together to organize a send-forth party for the immediate past legal advisor and board secretary of the agency, Barrister Matthew Egbadon. Here are highlights of that event.
The immediate past legal advisor and secretary to the board of Nimasa, the Right Honorable Barrister Matthew Egbadon, was hosted to a send-forth dinner party by his former colleagues at Nimasa. The ceremony was put together by senior managers and directors of the agency and held at the prestigious Ocean View in Victoria Island. The atmosphere was particularly convivial as the guests of honor and his wife were treated to an evening of fun and laughter. Barrister Matthew Egbadon did not fail to express his appreciation to his colleagues for the honor done to him.
I feel great. Indeed, I'm overwhelmed. I was in Nimasa for 9 years, and I never saw an occasion like this where a director will retire and they will be honored by his colleagues. So I feel on top of the world that my colleagues that I work with were able to call me to come and have dinner with them. I'm very, very much pleased, and I'm grateful to God for that.
He was also quick to express his happiness at what he described as the irreversible forward trajectory of the agency under the current Director General.
The current leadership of Nimasa is doing very well. He's very focused, and I'm very pleased about that. We were part of the team that produced his 4-point agenda, and I can see that he's driving those agenda without sense of responsibility, and he's beginning to deliver on them. And the whole world is beginning to acknowledge his effort, and I think that is how it should be, and I'm very grateful. So I believe it is time for me to move on. The place is running. It's on autopilot now.
His former subordinates at the legal department spoke glowingly about him.
Happy that he has moved on, but sad that he's no longer with us. He was very industrious, very disciplined, very, how do I put it? Very astute and very intuitive. People didn't know this about him, but he has a very human side to him. He was in tune with those that worked in his department. If you are not happy, he would know somehow.
He's the kind of person you can live with and feel good, because he tells you as it is at any point in time, and then after it's all gone. You know, he's different from the typical man who tells you it's all good right here, but you turn your back and he puts a knife in your back.
Barrister Egbadon's other colleagues from the other units and departments, like the head of the PR unit, Hajia Lami Tumaka, also had something to say about him.
All kinds of accolades have been heaped on him. That shows you to a level that he's quite distinguished, an honorable man, a wonderful man. And though I did not work there, I'm not a lawyer, so I did not work with him in the legal department, but he was the chairman of the editorial board of our magazine, of which I am the editor. And with his commitment, we took the magazine to another level.
The head of the Public-Private Partnership Unit of Nimasa, Rex Elem, also spoke about Barrister Egbadon's famous penchant for saying it like it is.
He's somebody that you like him or you don't like him, he's very objective. He also has he's independent minded and very dispassionate in looking at things. He doesn't, he's not a man of sentiment. He tells you the way it is. But I think on a balance of scale, he's such a reliable and a formidable person.
However, the highest praise of the guest of honor was reserved for his lovely wife, Mrs. Violet Egbadon, as she paid glowing tribute to her husband and thanked the staff of Nimasa for cooperating with him during his tenure.
My husband is a very hard-working man. He's a man, when he believes in a cause, he does not stop until he achieves it. Sometimes he can be blunt. He speaks his mind at any issue, no matter who is involved. He is a very caring husband and father. He's loving. He's a friend, my old friend, and a confidant. I could not have wished for a better husband. And at this point, I would like to use this opportunity to thank all the Nimasa staff, especially the DG, for the support you gave to my husband while he was with you.
And now we come to the end of our show. As always, we hope we kept you informed and educated. Now, please don't forget, this is an interactive show. All you need to do is send your questions or comments to the email address currently showing on your screen. Now, I'm going to be here same time, same station next week. Until then, I'm wishing you smooth sailing and bon voyage.